I never thought a simple gate would turn into a full-blown war. That morning, I saw 2 HOA officers standing outside my property like they owned the place. They weren't asking, they were demanding. And that's when I decided I wasn't opening that gate. Not today. They told me I was violating community rules, something about inspections and compliance checks. But here's the thing, they didn't have permission. And I don't take kindly to strangers making demands on my property, so I stood my ground. One of them stepped forward, clearly annoyed. He said, "You're required to let us in." Required. That word didn't sit right with me. This wasn't their land. This was mine. I looked him straight in the eyes and said it clearly, my land, my rules. For a second, everything went silent. You could feel the tension in the air, and that's when things escalated. They started making calls right there, acting like they were about to bring the whole system down on me. But I didn't move, didn't argue, didn't shout. I just waited. By now, neighbors had started watching. You know how it is, nothing spreads faster than drama in a quiet neighborhood. Everyone was waiting to see what I'd do next. But honestly, I already made my decision. One officer stepped aside, speaking into his phone like this was some emergency. The other kept pacing back and forth. You could tell they weren't used to being told no. But I wasn't backing down, not even an inch. Then I saw a police car pulling up now. Things were getting serious. The officers suddenly looked confident again, like backup had arrived. But they had no idea what was coming. The officer listened to them first, nodding, asking questions. Then he walked over to me, calm, professional, completely different energy. He asked if I was refusing entry. I said yes and explained why. No warrant, no permission, no entry. He paused, then nodded, and turned back to them. The officer walked back to them and started explaining something. Their expressions changed almost instantly. Confidence turned into confusion. Turns out, things weren't as simple as they thought, and definitely not in their favor. They stepped aside and started whispering to each other, clearly trying to figure out their next move. But the energy had shifted now. They weren't in control anymore, and they knew it. Meanwhile, I stayed right where I was. No stress, no panic, because I knew my rights, and I wasn't about to let anyone cross that line, not even them. The officer made it clear they couldn't just walk onto private property, not without proper notice or legal backing. That hit them hard. You could see it on their faces. One of them completely lost his patience, started pacing, shaking his head. This wasn't going how they planned, not even close. And it was starting to show. At this point, more neighbors had gathered, some watching from windows, others from their yards. Everyone loves a good HOA showdown, and this one was getting interesting. Suddenly, their tone changed, from demanding to polite. They tried to reason with me now, but it was a little too late for that. Respect should have been there from the start. I simply shook my head. Nothing aggressive, nothing rude, just a clear no. Because once boundaries are crossed, you don't just pretend it didn't happen. The officer stayed right there between us, making sure things didn't escalate. He wasn't taking sides, just enforcing the law, and that was enough. You could see it in their posture now. The fight was fading. That authority they walked in with, gone. Just like that. You could see it in their posture now. The fight was fading. That authority they walked in with, gone. Just like that. The officer gave them one final explanation. Clear, simple, no confusion. Rules still applied even to them. And today, they had crossed a line. Slowly, they stepped back. Not by choice, but by reality. There was nothing left for them to argue. No authority to stand on. Just silence. I didn't celebrate. Didn't say a word. Just stood there, watching. Because this was never about winning. It was about standing firm. The crowd slowly started to disappear. Whispers fading into normal conversation. Another neighborhood story. But this one, people wouldn't forget anytime soon. They walked back to their car, not saying much anymore. The confidence they came with, left somewhere behind that gate, and they knew it. Before leaving, the officer gave me a small nod. No words needed, just mutual understanding. Respect goes both ways, and today proved that. And just like that, it was over. The tension disappeared. The street went quiet again. But something had changed, at least for me. That gate wasn't just wood and metal anymore. It was a boundary, a reminder that standing your ground matters, even when it's uncomfortable. Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment to draw a line, one decision to say enough. And when you do, everything changes. Like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from.